This video is brought to you by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Outdoors Delmarva covers everything outdoors,
including real hunting and fishing situations involving wildlife.
We do our best each and every week to keep it tasteful, but discretion is advised.
Now, enjoy the show.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
This week on the show.
That's a nice one,
Wow. Thanks to a little rain, our flounder trip on the bay is relocated offshore to fish a pair of wrecks off the coast of Chincoteague. A school of triggerfish await us, but would any flounder be hiding out on the bottom? Plus, we take a look ahead at one of the biggest events of the year on Delmarva, the 2013 White Marlin Open. We'll look back at last year's highlights and find out what's new for this year. And we're blowing it up for clean water on the Isle of Wight Bay, as well as discovering an online tool to check out the quality of our recreational waterways.
Right now on Outdoors Delmarva.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. And now, here's Andrew Tawes.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Andrew Tawes. We'll be checking in with my partner, Captain Willie Dykes, in a few minutes. As most of you know, when it comes to fishing, your plans can change at the drop of a hat. And that's what happened to us this week when the rains fell over the bay, making water conditions less than ideal for flounder fishing. So Captain Matt Abel here suggested instead that we head offshore towards a couple of wrecks to catch a few triggerfish and maybe even a flounder or two. Departing from Curtis Merritt Harbor in Chincoteague, Captain Matt explains his previous day of fishing on the bay.
You were out yesterday and didn't have a very good day.
No, it was bad. The water was dirty all day, so hopefully we'll find some clear water and maybe we'll find something to dip up.
Flounder are not too fond of feeding in murky water.
We've had a lot of storms in the last little bit, and the water conditions have been dirty, so we're going to head offshore and fish some structure and try to get some flounders or triggerfish out there. Today we'll be fishing some rail cars. They're sunk as a part of the artificial reef program, and that is havens for fish.
But the first stop is a sunken schooner about 4 miles out, and the goal is to drop the hammer on a few triggerfish.
We're fishing on a small wreck off the coast of Chincoteague, and the fella driving the boat's good enough we can get anchored up on this thing. See that structure right there?
Matt throws the anchor and we are ready to fish.
Okay, we need to go in there and get the things that clams out, please.
On board and acting as first mate is Matt's son, 10-year-old Ethan. They get the lines ready and chunk a few clams in the water. Soon Ethan is on the bow with rod in hand.
I don't know what it is. You're supposed to know, you're a professional. It's not a flounder. It's a triggerfish. Look at that fish. Ain't pretty? Not really.
Certainly not the prettiest, but definitely a unique looking fish, and it puts up a decent fight. That's probably why a handful of other boats are out here looking for a school of triggerfish.
Looks like a parade.
After catching a handful of little black sea bass, we hook up with what feels like a bigger fish. It definitely has more tug to it.
There's a little drag there. There you go. Not what you typically see on Delmarva.
It's tropical.
Yep. Put you in a straw hat and some reggae music,
That's
and you
right.
wouldn't even know we're here.
Not at all. Even got jet skis. That's right. A couple of jet skiers are out here fishing this wreck, and soon everyone is hauling in triggerfish. We could even see them swimming after Matt's green bobber and bumping it around. And the first mate is back with another, and this fish is not coming in easily.
What are you grunting and groaning for? That's a nice one.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Ethan's doing his best to reel it in, but under the boat it goes.
Great. That little itty bitty fish. Look at that. Nice. That's a nice one, Ethan.
And like a good first mate, Ethan is sure to leave the customer feeling proud of himself. Now who's got the biggest fish? Me? I think that one was bigger than the one I caught. I think you got it.
Oh well.
I think Ethan got the biggest fish so far. He may be one of the rare fishing first mates of the charter business, but Ethan doesn't neglect his duties while on the job.
Ethan, can you put this on the roof?
Okay. My dad likes me being first mate because I can get him bait and rods and stuff like that.
So you do all the work out here for your dad while you're fishing?
Mostly.
Hey.
Maybe not all, but
You enjoy being first mate?
yeah.
Even Outdoors Delmarva producer Chopper Chuck gets in on the action, hauling in his first triggerfish and arguably the prettiest one of the day. Matt gives us an up-close look at the sharp little teeth of this blue-eyed fish.
Here, Ethan.
Wasting not a second, rod is in hand, and there's no doubt about it, the first mate is getting this one in the boat.
That's a big one.
Another triggerfish is on the line, and it's really something else to watch a group of them trailing after while reeling in. We move a little to get over a reef of sunken New York City subway cars and hope that flounder will be hanging around the discarded remains of the big city.
As soon as I say drop, you're going to drop, and we're going to kind of walk our rigs. You want to keep a nice heavy weight on it so your line stays straight up and down. Kind of walk it over the structure.
But after a couple of hang-ups, Matt gets some live action on the line. Grabbing the net, he scoops in what was our original target, a flounder.
We got some triggerfish, flounder, and black sea bass. We did a pretty good day. Had a pretty good day. Had fun.
When a hard-working first mate says he's had fun, no change of plans for a day of fishing can make you disagree.
Get outdoors, Delmarva.
Coming up next on the show, we preview one of our favorite events on Delmarva, the 2013 White Marlin Open. But first, did you know? The triggerfish not only has a unique appearance, but also a unique name. Why is this fish called a triggerfish? The answer when we come back.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, Shooter's Choice, and Sussex Outdoors. Outdoors Delmarva will be right back.
That's a nice one, Ethan. Look at that one.
Did you know? A triggerfish gets its name because it has a trigger, as we learned while fishing aboard the Ocean Princess out of Ocean City.
Reason they call these a triggerfish, no matter how hard you pull, you can't put it down. There's a trigger, pow!
Did You Know is sponsored by North Bay Marina.
One of our favorite times of the year on Delmarva is just around the corner, the 2013 White Marlin Open. And joining me now is Jim Motzko. Jim, how's it going?
Andrew, I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
All right, not too bad. Well, believe it or not, there might be some people that haven't heard of the White Marlin Open. Maybe you can explain some of the Calcuttas and how the tournament breaks down.
Well, for the basic entry fee of $1,200 a boat, White Marlin Open puts up $50,000 of guaranteed prize money. Over and above that, anglers can choose various different added entry levels, Calcuttas, whatever you want to call them. They're all run independent of each other. Some people feel like they have to go and get into everything to win a lot of money, but it's not the case. Very few people win more than one category. So the winner take all $5,000 heaviest white, level E, that's the one you want to get into if you want a shot at winning $1 million, because it's winner take all. You don't divide it among anybody, and it's all yours.
$1 million, that's quite a lot to take home.
Yeah, it is, but it will take you fishing a whole lot of days if you win it.
Well, Jim, we love getting down to the scales and seeing all the action. How are things looking this year for registration?
We're a little bit ahead of where we were last year at this date, which really means absolutely nothing. We'll find out Sunday night. If we have a good weather forecast, we expect to have a little bit more boats than we did last year. Last year was our first year that we have gone up in the number of boats in the last 6 years, so it was a positive sign, and the phone's been ringing off the hook, so I'm hoping we'll have a good tournament this year.
All right, so and if you maybe want to talk about some of the highlights from last year, what are some of the big events that you remember?
Well, the biggest one, I think, was the fact that we didn't have any blue marlin weighed in that met our minimum, and only one white marlin that met the 70-pound minimum. So as it turned out, with one fish, one angler won over $1,400,000. And if that won't get you excited, nothing else will.
And Jim, understand that the anglers can fish 3 out of the 5 days of the tournament, and how does weather kind of play into a factor here?
Weather is probably the most important thing in the whole tournament. Depending on what the weather forecasts are, anglers are allowed to fish in a maximum of 3 days out of the 5. On their non-fishing days, they have to contact and let us know. If not, they're fishing. And a lot of it's strategy. It depends on the size of the boat you have. And if there's a decent weather forecast, a lot of people will go probably the first day and then see what the forecast is going to be.
And not everybody can go out on a boat and fish in the tournament, but there's ways to be able to see the action. What can people do to get a front row seat?
Well, there's a couple ways. From 4 o'clock till 9 o'clock every day, we'll be live streaming video from Harbor Island, and that's a continuous event going on. But if you like to get up early in the morning, you can go down to the Ocean City Inlet around 4:30 in the morning, and you'll start to see the parade of boats making their way out through the inlet, out to the sea buoy. The majority of the boats will go out on Monday if there's a good weather forecast. And you can also go to the inlet around 4:30 in the afternoon, 4:30 to 6, and watch the boat parade come from the ocean back through the inlet. It's really a wonderful sight to see.
All right, well, Jim, thanks for taking the time to talk with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming down here and visiting us, and I hope to see you at the scales this week.
All right, we'll see you there. And be sure to tune in to Outdoors Delmarva next weekend, where we will have a wrap-up of the full week's events of the White Marlin Open. See you then.
Coming up next on the show, water everywhere. But is it safe to swim in?
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
Having access to clean water in our environment is crucial to life itself. And our Outdoors Delmarva crew was fortunate enough to be invited to an event held recently at the Isle of Wight Nature Park in Worcester County to test the local waters.
We are celebrating a swimmable water weekend, which is actually a worldwide initiative this year. Programs throughout the world are celebrating this weekend by getting people in the water and swimming and appreciating clean, swimmable water.
The first part of the event was the wade-in, to check the quality of the water using a rather unscientific method developed by former Maryland State Senator Bernie Fowler some 20 years ago. He waded out into the water until he could no longer see his sneakers.
Can you still see your feet?
Well, we've stirred up the mud quite a bit. So to be honest, I'm having a hard time seeing mine. But I think we stirred it up. Can you see your feet?
No.
Quite a bit of sediment now.
Today we got out to almost 3 feet, 32 inches, before our official measure, Dr. Tom Jones of Salisbury University, lost sight of his feet.
They're size 13, so can't miss
they're pretty
them.
easy to see.
There's a lot of good stuff out here. There's some eelgrass in this water, so just the fact that the water's clear is allowing eelgrass to grow in here, and a lot of these deeper algas that need sunlight. And they seem to be doing real well here this year. Last year, you didn't see any of this. Go!
The second part of the event is a race on inflatable water toys. And awards are given to the participants.
Good job. We have to make you look good for the cameras.
This local event, known as Blow It Up for Clean Water, was organized by the Assateague Coastal Trust, who routinely take more scientific readings of the water quality in and around this part of Delmarva. And while the event may simply look like good, clean fun, it's part of a larger initiative involving some 20 countries from all over the world. There's an online resource called the Waterkeeper Swim Guide that shows you if the recreational waterways in your part of the world are safe for swimming. A green-colored swimmer means you're good to go, while a red swimmer warns of poor water quality. As you can see, Delmarva has all green swimmers, which is really something to be proud of.
And be sure to get outdoors, Delmarva. Get out there and enjoy it.
Coming up next, you can leave those crab pots behind as Scorchy finds a family of crabbers who like catching them the old-fashioned way on this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
It's true when they say the best things in life are free, or in this case, pretty close to it. On this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic, we find that a little twine, a net, and some good reflexes are all that stand between you and a nice afternoon feast.
All over Delmarva, there are those individuals who get a kick out of catching and cooking their own crabs. Such is the Rooks family of Salisbury. We discovered Bill, Billy, Normally, and Maureen, along with Maureen's children, Jason and Jamie, enjoying their sport at Dame's Quarter in the quiet of this past Wednesday morning. And to say the least, they were doing very well.
It was Sunday we came down, and we come down Monday. We caught 28, and now we've come earlier this morning, and I don't know how many we got now, a couple dozen, I guess.
The Rooks family were crab lining, which to most is far more fun than the crab trap. It is very inexpensive. Although catching crabs is such fun, it doesn't need the added incentive of cheapness. A crab net, a ball of twine, and a package of your favorite bait, which in the Rooks case are chicken backs, are all you need. Just tie the chicken on the twine with enough weight attached to sink it. Throw it out in the water, attach the string to a stake, and watch for the tug of the crab, making sure the tugger measures 5 inches from tip to tip before depositing him or her in the basket. Use as many lines as you like, and when the crab tugs at the bait, pull in very slowly, but be ready to dip quickly. The number of crabs in your evening feast depends upon your reflexes. Put it mildly, the Rooks family was having a ball, and their ballroom was but a tiny portion of the huge outdoor recreational ballroom that encompasses our Delmarvelous land.
Coming up next, your latest viewer videos and pictures.
Outdoors Delmarva viewer pictures are sponsored by Wink Sporting Goods. And we'll be right back. You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, Shooter's Choice, and Sussex Outdoors.
That's a nice one.
Wow.
Come on, Crank.
It's time now to take a look at some of the latest videos and pictures sent in by our own Outdoors Delmarva viewers. Here are a couple of young anglers that had a great day fishing on Blair's Pond in Sussex County. Alyssa and Danielle Burhop of Greenwood, Delaware are showing off a couple of nice largemouth bass. And check out the Nanacoke Watershed Alliance at their annual wade-in. For the water clarity test, participants were able to wade into the river to a depth of 17 inches before their white shoes disappeared.
Well, Andrew, it was a great week for getting out in the water, whether you're wetting a line or just wetting your feet.
That's right, Will, and it's going to be a big difference next week from the triggerfish we got this week to the billfish that we'll be seeing at the White Marlin Open. We're looking forward to getting out there all 5 days and bringing you the highlights on next week's show. So for my partner, Captain Willie Dykes, I'm Andrew Taws, reminding you to get outdoors, Delmarva.